what I forgot. If there were any other, forgot my pen. Good to go? Good to go?
Good evening. We'd like to call our meeting to order, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have solicitor announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Upper Darby Township Zoning Hearing Board. We'll announce that the board met in executive session prior to this evening's hearing to discuss questions of law and receive legal advice related to this evening's applications. There are two, for everybody here who is not an applicant, there are two ways to participate in this evening's hearings. The first is public comment. At the end of every application, we will ask for public comment. Everybody has the right to give public comment on these applications. Public comment are statements in support or in opposition to the relief requested. It's not a time for questions. It's not a time for interrogation of any witnesses, but it is just a time for you to state your opinion on the relief being requested in that application. The other way to participate is called party status. At the beginning of each application, we will ask if anybody is interested in requesting party status. Party status is for close neighbors who feel they are particularly affected by the application. We determine that through distance from the subject property. We will ask you questions. If it is determined that you receive party status, you are able to ask questions of the applicant's witnesses, present testimony and evidence of your own. You're entitled to receive a copy of the board's written decision. And if you disagree with the board's decision, you will be able to file an appeal with the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas. If you do request party status and it is granted, I will guide you through that process during that portion of the hearing. Those are all my announcements, but as a housekeeping matter, our next item on the agenda are our 2025 meeting dates, which will be established by resolution, which I'll now read into the record. A resolution establishing hearing dates for the Upper Darby Township Zoning Hearing Board for 2025. Whereas the Zoning Hearing Board has been established by Upper Darby Township pursuant to the municipality's planning code 53 PS section 10901. It's sequential. And whereas the board wishes to provide general notice of its regular dates for hearings on applications and appeals coming before the board for the 2025 calendar year. And whereas this resolution is to serve as a guide for hearing dates. And whereas the board may establish other dates for hearings on applications and appeals outside of this resolution in accordance with the provisions of the municipality's planning code, including public notice. Now therefore be it resolved by the Zoning Hearing Board of Upper Darby Township that the following schedule be announced for 2025 hearing dates. January 28th, 2025, February 25th, 2025, March 25th, 2025, April 22nd, 2025, May 27th, 2025, June 24th, 2025, July 22nd, 2025, August 26th, 2025, September 30th, 2025, October 28th, 2025, November 25th, 2025, December 16th, 2025, and in anticipation, January 27th, 2026. And that would be resolved this day of December 2024. Is there a motion from the board to adopt this resolution?
I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second? Second. Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there, and no opposed for the record. So this resolution will be signed by the board and provided to the township for publication. That's all I have, Madam Chair. I guess we will note, since this is our second meeting with this announcement, even though we hope that we don't have to enforce this evening, but the board's policy is that no new applications will be commenced after 10:30 PM. Any application not heard prior to 10:30 PM will be continued to January 28th, 2025 at 7 PM.
Okay, let's move along. 12-1 of 24, Rise Up Towers LLC, 069th Street, AKA 69th Street Recreational Area in Upper Darby. It's in a recreational district, requesting a variance from section 558A to permit a wireless telecommunications facility in the rec zoning district. B, a variance from section 55038 to forego approval from the township's telecommunications commission. C, a variance from section 55038D to permit artificial lighting on the proposed support structure. And D, a variance from section 55038E2 to permit a setback of 28.5 feet from a property line where 60 feet is required. Good evening.
Good evening. I know we have Mr. Malloy for the applicant. At this time, we'll ask if there's anybody who is requesting party status for this application. All right, seeing none, the board will enter the following exhibit. ZHB1 will be the application packet, ZHB2 will be the notice photos, and ZHB3 will be proof of publication. Mr. Malloy, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Solicitor, and good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. My name is Mike Malloy. I'm from the law firm Obermeyer, Redmond, Maxwell, and Hipple, and I'm here on behalf of Rise Up Towers. In deference to your schedule and that no one is here as a party, I'm going to try to keep this as concise as possible, believing that the board understands and knows what a cell tower is into year 2024. I'm going to approach the board. I'm going to present as Exhibit A1. This is a copy of a binding letter of intent that was signed by the mayor. The township owns the property at issue here, and we needed standing to appear before you, legal standing. This binding letter of intent, in a nutshell, says if we are so privileged to get your zoning approval tonight, that the township will move forward with a ground lease with Rise Up Towers. Terms of that ground lease are in that letter. I can answer any questions about that. I write the ground lease.
We'll mark this as A1 unless you have pre-marked exhibits.
No, that's
okay.
it, please.
And Mr. Malloy, just as a housekeeping item, I know it's a far distance, but for our broadcast purposes, if you don't mind staying at the microphone, just in case there is anybody watching from home.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I apologize. The second thing I have in my hand is an affidavit of posting. I did it myself. I posted the property personally. I did it on December 4th. I did it again on December 10th, and I did it again yesterday on December 16th because the postings kept disappearing. So I'm going to approach and mark this as Exhibit A2 for the record. So I have three individuals with me tonight, but I'm only going to present two unless the board wants to hear from the third individual to try and consolidate this hearing. My first witness, and both of my witnesses, my first two witnesses are professional engineers, but they have very different qualifications. The first is Brett Mangrum, and Brett sealed the drawings that are in front of you on the board, and if you have them in your exhibit packets, I'm not sure if you do, I have small versions of them as well. I'd like to mark the overall plan as Exhibit A3 in advance of Brett's testimony about it, and that's a plan prepared by Edge Fiber and Wireless Development, last revised 10/18/24. And that plan is called Upper Darby PA 00 dollar or a number sign. Next, I have Andy Peterson. Andy is one of the foremost experts in radio frequency engineering. He's also a professional engineer. Andy's going to tell you why this property in particular is uniquely suitable to fill a major gap in in cellular coverage in Upper Darby Township. And you're going to see from the propagation maps that he presents, you're going to see the gap and see how the tower, if placed in the 69th Street recreational area, will close that gap and improve coverage for the township and the residents and businesses that operate there. As an aside, I'll say this is part of a process that has been going on for a long time. Rise Up Towers started conversations with Upper Darby Township almost 3 years ago about a tower. This opportunity arose, and we've been having communications with the township for months and months. Back in the summer, we mailed all of the residents around the area and had a public meeting. No one showed up. We had 40 or 50 people watch it online, and no one's here today. So I think it's just a testament. We wanted to get out ahead of anybody who had any concerns, and I think we covered that here. So with that, I'm going to ask Brett to walk us through the plan and show you where the tower is, discuss a little bit. Oh, the one other thing, you're not going to hear testimony tonight on one of the variances, which is a variance not to have the approval of the Telecommunications Commission. And it's because there is no Telecommunications Commission. So we can't do it. I think you guys are the de facto Telecommunications Commission here, because we will go right to building permit, assuming the lease gets approved after this. So I'll have Brett sworn in, and he'll run you through the plan really quickly, show you the setback and the height of the tower, that kind of thing. Thank you.
I swear. Brett. Last name is Magaram. All right.
Brett, introduce yourself to the zoning hearing board.
Hello. I'm Brett Magaram. I'm a licensed professional engineer, licensed in 44 states, Pennsylvania being one of them. I have been a PE for, I believe, 8 years, and have been in this industry since 2007, the wireless telecommunication industry.
We're going to offer Brett as an expert in telecommunications engineering and structural engineering, although he didn't talk about those qualifications, but he is qualified as a structural engineer as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That is my focus.
One second.
Have you testified before other zoning hearing boards?
Yes.
And have you been accepted as expert in those instances?
Yes.
And are you licensed to practice as an engineer, a professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
I am.
And for how long have you been practicing?
I've been a PE for 8 years, but I've been in the industry, I said, since 2007.
I would recommend to the board that we accept this witness as an expert. Is there any objection?
None.
All right, so accepted.
So Brett, you designed the plan that we have up on the screen here, and that's Z1. Tell us about the location of the tower and some of the property a little bit in the surrounding area.
All right. So on this sheet, Z1 is just an aerial view of the location of where the tower will be. You can see it's a recreational area with existing baseball fields. The tower is going to be kind of in the top right, right there where you've placed the mouse cursor. It was designed to be placed over there so it would have the least impact on the recreational area. And there will be an easement going to the upper left on the drawing, which is where we will be pulling power and fiber from. And the tower will be there, and it will be designed to accommodate 4 wireless carriers. And there will also be a gate going to the upper right on the plan, going up the hill for access in that direction.
Okay, let's stop right there. You mentioned that the location of the tower was optimally placed at that location. And it's correct that we meet the setback, which is 60 feet, in 3 of the 4 locations, correct?
That is correct.
And so one of the locations abuts a commercial, and then the other 2, one is across 69th Street where there's residential, and then there's residential in the distance at the other setback, correct?
Correct.
And so where we do not meet the setback, the property is, that we don't meet the setback against is owned by Upper Darby Township, correct?
That is correct.
And that's used as their maintenance area?
Correct.
And even there, we're set back 28 feet, 5 inches, correct?
Set back 28 feet, I think, 5 inches.
Okay. The variance for the artificial lighting, the tower itself needs no lighting, correct?
Correct, because it's below 200 feet, yeah.
Okay.
Below 200 feet.
The tower is, the height of the tower, and we'll get to that at a few, is 150 feet, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So the artificial light, it's my understanding, is going to be replacing light for the ball field, correct?
That is correct.
So we're going to hang lights from the ball field on the tower.
Yes.
And that's why we need the variance for the artificial light, correct? Okay. So the property is located in the REC district, and towers are only permitted in the C4 district. So we need that use variance, correct?
That is correct.
And why don't we switch to the next page? Oh, you know, keep going, actually. Sorry, we'll go to page 4, I think it is, right? Yeah, okay. Now, Brett, this is page Z3 on the zoning drawings. What do we see here?
Hold on, you have a bunch of copies, but yes. This is an elevation drawing of the tower showing where the proposed different carriers will go. It's designed for 4 carriers that will be spaced, I believe, 10 feet apart vertically. And you can see on the lower on the tower where the proposed lighting will be for the ballpark.
And then the compound will be a chain link fence?
Yes.
And that's primarily so people can see inside of it, right? No one can hide in there?
No one can hide in there. Nobody can gain access, children or something like that.
And you're aware that Rise Up Towers offers free of charge to place any municipal emergency management equipment on the tower, rent-free?
I am.
And they place that for free if they deliver it right to the site, right?
Yes.
Okay. So can we switch back to the other page? Thank you. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the page in the middle. Sorry, I apologize. So, Brett, this is page Z2. What do we see here?
This is an aerial view of the tower, of the compound around the tower. So you can see the circle kind of in the center. That is the monopole that will stick up vertically. And then there will be lease areas shown as there's 3 boxes on the bottom for future use of different carriers and 1 rectangle on the top, which would be for, let's say, T-Mobile or the first carrier. On the right-hand side, there is a gate. I believe there's actually going to be, this might be an older version of the drawing. It's going to extend further to the right with, I believe, a staircase up the hill. On to the left of the circle, which is the tower, there's what we call an H-frame, which is where the electrical meters and boxes for the fiber will come in and hang from that area.
And all that's coming in underground, right? No disturbance to the ball
Correct. The
fields.
power and the fiber will come in underground.
Okay. And we want to put enough space in the compound for 4 carriers because we want to maximize the tenancy of the tower, correct?
Yes.
And that would also limit the need for other towers in the area.
Yes. Most towers are designed for co-location so that you could have, in theory, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon all on the same tower rather than having 3 separate towers for each wireless company.
And Dish Network is also out there building a network,
That's
correct?
true.
Okay. So will the tower meet all the FCC regulations?
Yes.
And aside from the lighting that we talked about earlier for the ball field, there's no other lighting at this time?
No.
Is there any signage proposed outside of what will be required by law?
No.
Is the proposed use, in your opinion, consistent with the criteria and objectives of the township's comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Is it suitable use for the property?
Yes.
Will it serve the best interests of the community?
Yes.
Will the tower cause any adverse impact to light, air? Will it overcrowd the land, cause congestion of population, highway congestion, cause any fire, panic, or other dangers?
No.
And did you take into consideration, or you think did the applicant take into consideration the location of the tower and located in a spot that would cause the least impact from a visual and otherwise perspective to residents?
Yes.
And the property itself has many, or what I would describe as many light fixtures and poles up anyway. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it's visually described, you don't think
It will blend in with the area.
okay, can the property be developed in conformity with the ordinance? In respect to the setback, like what if we complied with that setback? It would
If
put
you
them,
complied with the setback, you'd have the tower being more kind of in the middle of the baseball diamond, you don't want to obviously have that. You want to have it kind of as far in the corner of the property as you possibly can.
And will it alter the essential character of the neighborhood or substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of the adjacent property or be detrimental to public welfare?
No.
Is it the minimum variance necessary for relief?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. Marjoram. And
Any
at some point, I'm going to
board
learn to say his name, Mojaram, Magaram, sorry.
Are there any board questions for this witness?
Yeah. Is there currently access to, I guess, the ball field from Montgomery, was that Montgomery Avenue? Is there access where you have is there existing access where you have the proposed access gate?
That one I don't know.
Let me swear Scott Galloway in. He's our general contractor. From Montgomery Avenue, let's just swear Scott in. And Scott's authorized to speak on behalf of Rise Up and the developer.
Yes. Scott, excuse me, Scott Galloway. Galloway.
Could we zoom in on the tower and where Montgomery Avenue comes in? So Scott, Montgomery Avenue is the adjacent property where, just out a little bit, yeah.
Right there.
Right there. So the road actually, I believe, ends, terminates, and then we have parking area and not a shed, it's like a tent, right? A tent. So we were originally going to put it there, right? And then they didn't want to move the tent. So describe for the board how the access is going to work and.
So currently there is no access through the fence to the, to the lower field.
Okay.
What we'd like to do is we're going to put a gate in that existing fence, a locked gate, and a set of steel stairs going down to the compound elevation, which is the lower field, and that'll be fenced in.
Okay.
So it'll be just for maintenance personnel.
Okay, so that access will be restricted to that fenced in, I guess we're calling it compound that's the proposed tower.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be locked as well.
And for, I guess, a tower like this that services, I guess, potentially up to 4 providers, is that right? What kind of maintenance is expected over time with that? And is that done by the applicant or is that done by the providers? How does that work?
The frequency of the maintenance or who does the?
Or I guess I don't have a sense of what kind of maintenance
Sure.
at all is like
So
required with this.
approximately
and how
about
does that
once a
look?
month, a cell carrier, cell tech will come in, check out the radios, make sure things are working properly. One vehicle. If something needs to be done, like an antenna needs to be swapped out, but that's something that's scheduled with everyone to replace that. So that happens rarely, but there will be monthly checks in the compound.
And that's driven by the providers or by?
By the providers, yes.
Okay. So maybe this question may be more for the providers, but if you know, I guess I should qualify that way. I think the proposed access is 4 feet wide, right? Am I reading that? 4 feet wide access gate to get down to the area.
Yeah.
Is the expectation that if there's some type of physical maintenance required, that they would be utilizing only this access to do that? Like, is that enough space to maintain the tower? I guess what my concern is, I don't really want trucks backing through the field to get there to maintain. So are we providing for enough space for that to happen here?
Yeah, Scott, just as why don't we do you plan to construct the tower from Montgomery Avenue, do you think?
No,
Would
I
you
think
stack
we'll-
the tower from there?
It'll probably be, it could be done from the field or from Montgomery, from the upper side as well.
And it could be done from the field, in off times without
Yes.
disturbing anything,
Scheduled
right?
Outside of any events.
For the
With
initial
respect-
instruction you're talking about, like initial, okay.
Yeah, for initial. And then after that, after the tower's built, how much maintenance do you ever do on the actual tower structure?
If an antenna needs to be replaced, which might be, once or twice a year. It can be done from the upper side, from Montgomery.
And how much of that is done from the ground, like for access point? It's all done from a crane, right?
Crane or climbing.
Oh, climbing? Okay. And in which case well, describe that if they climb it. The 4 feet is enough to access that?
So what'll happen, a truck or 2 trucks will pull up at the end of Montgomery. They'll park there, access the gate, go down to the compound yard, and they'll climb the tower from that location. Everything's done from the compound or the upper side that'll be coned off. It won't have to be done from the ball field.
Okay, thank you. And do you think the applicant will be receptive to a restriction that maintenance be done from Montgomery Avenue?
I can,
Okay.
I can tell you that. Well, I mean,
obviously
presumably the
you can
township
confer,
will
but-
have to give us an easement over that parcel. And we'll have to work that out with our lease
Okay,
in a little more detail. But yes, of course, you know,
Okay.
we would accept that as long as the township it's not our land, so.
right.
But yes, I think that would be beneficial to everybody.
Okay, thank you. I don't have it.
I have a question relative to the ground itself for the ball field. That area has been identified as a floodplain and subject to a lot of getting water in it. How do you intend to make sure that the tower is strong and stable under those conditions?
Yeah, we have several towers under construction right now in floodplains. Tell us about what we do in those situations.
So before construction actually happens, they'll have to take samples, a geotechnical report, and they will do a design for the foundation of the tower. And anything floodplain, poor soils, anything like that will actually be taken into consideration. And the caisson that the tower will sit on will be designed to withstand whatever soil conditions and flood situations would be, present at the site.
And what about the equipment? What would we do with that?
Well, depending on, how the severity of the flood zone, sometimes if the flood zone is very high, they'll raise the equipment up either on, steel frames or just thicker concrete pads with, step ladders. It depends on, like I said, how much of a flood zone you're actually dealing with at the site.
Thank you.
I think my question kind of piggybacks what Bob was asking around. So is there ever, I guess there's always above ground and underground repairs that may be needed to the tower? Or the maintenance, repairs and or maintenance?
The
Well,
tower itself
Yeah.
is relatively maintenance-free, I think.
So
Go ahead, please.
Feet?
I think there's like a differentiation here that the tower, like the hard infrastructure in theory should last like, 30 to 50 years, right? It shouldn't really require much maintenance. Now, the electronic components and the shelters, as you were pointing out, Scott was pointing out, the carriers will change out the antennas. They will change out the equipment inside the shelters. So that kind of progresses at the same speed of all electronics. So every few years, they're going to be swapping stuff in and out. But the actual hard, structural part that I deal with, like the tower, the caisson, that should be relatively maintenance-free.
Okay, and what is the caisson? I'm sorry.
Oh, what is a caisson?
Yeah.
A caisson is literally just if you could bring up that circle with on the next page. A caisson is literally that outer circle. The inner circle is the actual tower. The outer circle is a large piece of concrete that will go down into the earth. That is the foundation of the tower.
Okay.
So the caissons are usually like, let's just say 8 feet in diameter and can go down, 20 feet into the earth,
Okay,
whatever is deemed
okay.
necessary to prevent the tower from turning over.
Right. I was just thinking 120 feet above, 150 above, how deep does it go down?
Yeah, that totally depends on soil. If it's poor soil, it's got to go down far. If it's into solid, granite, you don't have to go down nearly as far if you're into solid. So that totally depends on the soil type that's present at the site.
So the maintenance, what you're saying is the maintenance and repair that needs to be done or will be done by the carriers and their people?
Usually, if we're talking about the electronic maintenance, like I said,
Yes.
swapping out the equipment, yeah.
Mhm.
So the model usually is once these towers are built, the carriers are coming and renting space there. So that's their property then. So if AT&T wants to swap out equipment, that's their equipment. They have to swap it out. They're responsible for doing that. If Verizon is there or whoever is there, it's their responsibility for coming and providing that maintenance.
And are they, or I guess, who do they answer to? FCC regulations, and so that everyone is, who's monitoring them if they have to do any type of repairs or swapping out?
You know, it might be, Andy, I'm looking back. Are you nodding? You can maybe answer this? Yeah, our radio frequency engineer may be better suited to answer your questions about how they get monitor and they monitor radiation frequencies, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just wondering, not too in-depth, but I was just wondering if it's just electronic repairs and maintenance that's done, who is monitoring that it's done correctly or?
Yeah, I think that's an Andy Peterson question,
Okay.
and we would bring him up next.
Swear 'em in.
Come on. Andy.
All right, let's have Andy sworn in. Great, okay. And I'm going to pass out a few more exhibits. That Andy's just going to hit. You know, I'm covering all my bases here because we're under federal guidelines, that kind of stuff, so we have to make our case here. This is an electromagnetic exposure analysis that I'm going to mark as exhibit. I think I'm on A4.
Three was the plan before.
Yeah, this is an interference analysis, and these are all done by Andy. He'll explain to you. And then this is a radio frequency design analysis. I'm sorry.
That's
This
all right.
A6, okay? And we'll send electronic copies to everybody.
Is this a different one?
Yeah, this is a radio frequency design analysis. We've got to mark that.
So A4 is the electromagnetic exposure analysis. A5 is the interference analysis, and A6 is the radio frequency design analysis.
Andy, introduce yourself to the board. Oh, sorry. excuse
Swear 'em
me.
in.
Sorry about that.
Andrew Peterson, Peterson.
Andy, please introduce yourself to the board, and we're going to put Andy's PowerPoint up, I think, Joshua, right? If we can. Introduce yourself to the board, give them your qualifications. I'll give you the preview we're going to offer Andy as an expert in radio frequency engineering.
Andrew Peterson. I have undergraduate and graduate degrees, both in electrical engineering, both from Lehigh University, specialty in wireless telecommunication, registered professional engineer in the Commonwealth and a handful of surrounding states. I've been registered since 2006 in Pennsylvania. I've testified before hundreds of municipal bodies, including this one, although it's been quite a while, probably 10 years or so. Testified in federal court as an expert witness in criminal cases and civil cases.
Are there any questions from the board? I would recommend that we accept this witness as an expert in radio frequency analysis,
Radio frequency engineering.
engineering. Is there any objection from the board? All right, so accepted.
Thank you.
Andy, thanks for telling us about you. Tell us about this site. What's going on here? And so I'm going to ask you to walk through the PowerPoint that you prepared, correct?
Yes.
And tell us what it is.
Sure.
Talk about T-Mobile and why they want to be here. And then tell the board about what I passed out, the reports that you prepared.
Sure. So if you can hit F5 on that, it will blow it up a bit to make it easier to see. But I'm happy to start with the smaller version. Or put it into presentation mode, I think. But there's a shortcut to hit F5. Not sure.
That's all right. Start talking.
Anyway, so what we have here are examples of propagation modeling, and these are done using propagation modeling software. What that software does, it has all the information on the existing, in this case, T-Mobile sites. And then it also has information on the geography, the local geography. So the man-made and environmental clutter, trees, buildings, roadways, et cetera. And then most importantly, in this case, the terrain, because that plays a big part in how radio frequency propagates.
And so what we're able to do with all that information is, first and foremost, supply this map. What is a map which is showing the eastern portion of Upper Darby and then into western Philadelphia. And then all of the existing T-Mobile sites that are on the air today serving T-Mobile customers. Those sites are illustrated with the kind of propeller-shaped icons there that dot the periphery of the exhibit. And then we have the location of the proposed facility, which is central to that area of no green. And we'll talk about why that is, with the propeller shape that's not colored in there. So beyond all that information, we have areas that are illustrated green, illustrating reliable T-Mobile service today. And then the area around our proposed site, which is showing is having no green, which shows areas of unreliable T-Mobile service. If we then flip to the next slide, we can see with this facility activated with the antenna center line as proposed at 147 feet with a 150-foot tower, we're going to fill in the vast majority of those previously unreliable areas with robust service for T-Mobile customers. As was mentioned earlier, this facility will also accommodate the need for up to 3 more commercial wireless providers. And with the height there, I think it will be an attractive co-location opportunity for the other wireless providers. There's simply no tower structures in the area here. The closest site is a smokestack, roughly 3,000 feet or so to the southwest. And that's the site that T-Mobile is already on down there to the southwest.
So Andy, you think that other carriers are suffering from the same coverage problem here?
I do, yeah. There's really, as I mentioned, no tower structures in the immediate area. And an area like this where there's some dense residential use on both sides of Cobbs Creek. And then obviously the uses at the ball field, which are a notorious generator of cellular traffic demand, and all the neighborhoods and businesses around there. There's quite a bit of demand here. And then there's also a lack of coverage. So between the capacity demand and the lack of coverage, I don't think T-Mobile will be the only carrier interested in this location.
Is the tower, it's not going to interfere with anything else, right?
No, and that is one of the reports that I've authored and was submitted as an exhibit, the interference analysis. In a nutshell, T-Mobile is licensed by the Federal Communications Commission. That licensure dictates the very specific portions of the radio frequency spectrum in which they can operate. So other users of the radio frequency spectrum, whether it's other commercial carriers or garage door openers, baby monitors, et cetera, they're also licensed to operate in other particular portions of that spectrum. So by virtue of the licensure, there'll be no overlap in channels that could cause any harmful interference.
Andy, the chair had a question about, I don't know if I'm going to get it right, so correct me if I don't, but about who kind of monitors when they do these upgrades, who's doing that, and what are the regulations? They hire somebody like you maybe, or what's the answer there?
Well, it depends on what they're doing, but any of the equipment that T-Mobile is going to install, whether it's the antennas, the radios, et cetera, all that equipment has to receive what's called FCC type approval. So any new radios, they go through a pretty stringent process on approval by the FCC for the power output, and among a whole host of technical parameters. So that those radios and antennas can never go into production unless they receive the appropriate approvals. So from an equipment
But
standpoint,
once they're on site, though, once they're on site, you install an antenna, and what happens after that?
So let's say T-Mobile has to swap out an antenna. It's going to be in accordance with all appropriate building codes. If there is a change in the electromagnetic emissions as a result of that, T-Mobile will provide that. All of the carriers, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, they have their own internal checkpoints for any of that type of upgrade that could impact electromagnetic emissions, and those are audited on a regular basis by the FCC.
Any threat to public health, safety, and welfare that you can
No,
perceive?
No, in fact, just the opposite. There, today, there are about, depending on the exact age group we're talking about, but anywhere from about 80 to 90% of homes now are wireless-only homes. So from a 911 perspective, from a safety perspective, for folks to be able to access these wireless networks is becoming more and more important. As far as electromagnetic emissions go, one of the other reports that was offered is an electromagnetic exposure analysis. And without going into great length on the details of how that's prepared, the FCC provides the formulas, and they're basic physics formulas that folks like myself can apply the specifics to, including the power of the radios, the antenna patterns. And using those formulas and those specifics, we can determine the anticipated exposure levels at all areas of public access. And in this case, those levels would be less than 1.5% of the applicable FCC standards at all locations of public access. So this facility will be in strict compliance with the FCC rules for electromagnetic exposure by a wide margin.
My last question, given the coverage that this tower is going to provide, do you believe that this property is unique in the sense that it's able to provide the coverage with the minimal impact that Brett spoke about?
Yeah, from a technological perspective, it's difficult to find that just right property that can house a cellular facility with minimum impact that happens to be in the right location where the provider, in this case T-Mobile, and in my opinion, probably some of the other providers need it. So when we find the property that meets all of these requirements and satisfies all that, it's something that we always pursue.
I have no further questions for Mr. Peterson.
Anything further from the board?
I'd ask that we mark his PowerPoint as Exhibit
A7, yes.
and ask that my exhibits be placed into the record. And
Yeah, before we do that though, are there any, since we kind of did this free form, are there any other questions for any of the applicant's witnesses before we wrap this up?
I want to go over one thing. One
With
question.
the applicant?
Not him, no.
So someone else. So who do you need up? Structural engineer,
Yeah,
contractor?
Brett's the structural.
Right.
What's the,
He's coming up.
yep, there we go.
has
Go
he
ahead,
been
Bob.
Sworn in.
They're already sworn.
My question is with regards to any guide wires.
Are there any guide wires?
Guide wires that hold the tower in place.
No,
So you have big caissons, but
there are no guide wires on this tower. It's, that's the purpose of the caisson is to hold the tower. So there's gonna be bolts going into the caisson,
And what
into
if
the
they
earth.
can-
There are no wires.
what have they been tested to in terms of hurricane strengths or things like that?
So that will be designed to whatever the jurisdiction is here, and I believe it's 110 miles an hour.
That was it?
Anything else? All right,
Well,
so we'll move.
Yep, thank you very much. No, I was just gonna, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, we'll move your A1 through A7 into evidence.
That's great. Thank you very much. I mean, let me get up. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate it. Does the board vote this evening, or do we vote?
We will vote this evening. We still have to do public comment though.
I understand. Oh, yeah, what?
You mind if I ask? You want to ask?
Is there any public? Is there any public comment?
Did he want to get the township in? Ms. LaRue?
No, she doesn't want to talk.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Moy?
No, I just add one last thing, that one of the benefits is to the township is the lease. That you'll see in the letter of intent, 40% of the gross revenue of those antennas, and it's a monthly rent for each carrier, goes to the township. So it's just the last kind of point to this. We're on township property. The company tries to do this on municipal-owned land. It's sort of their mission, if they can do it that way. I think the witnesses prove this property is very unique. It's uniquely situated to fill this need, to fill this coverage gap. It's going to meet all the FCC requirements, and I hope you give consideration to the variances we requested. Thank you very much.
Ready to vote?
Make a motion.
I make a motion to approve this variance on the condition that that maintenance is done via the Montgomery Avenue road access.
I'd like to second that.
Aye.
You receive a written decision within 45 days of tonight.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to 12-2 of 24, Stephen Savitz, 136 Oakley Road in Upper Darby, PA. It's an R3 residential district, seeking a variance for section 550-33A to permit 2 parking spaces where 4 are required, and B, a variance for section 550-15D to permit less than 3,000 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit.
Right.
Welcome.
Good
Counsel?
evening, Mr. Solicitor and members of the board. My name is Jeff Cooper. I'm an attorney representing the applicant here. I would have said Junto SRS. I understand it's pronounced Junto SRS LLC. Because this applicant is an LLC, Mr. Savitz has retained counsel to formally represent the LLC. Mr. Savitz submitted this application on his own before my involvement, so I'll hand up my business card to.
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you.
Okay.
So before you begin, Mr. Cooper, is there anyone present this evening who is interested in party status for this application? All right, seeing none, the board will enter the following exhibits. ZHB 1 will be the application packet. ZHB 2 will be the notice photos, and ZHB 3 will be the proof of publication. Mr. Cooper, the floor is yours. If it's unopposed, you are welcome to do a offer of proof as long as your client will affirm your statements.
Thank you. Just a housekeeping type matter, because I have not seen the application, I have come prepared with a copy of my client's deed and LLC documents. Do we need any of that?
What I think it probably in this instance, since you're here representing, I'm happy to mark anything as an applicant's exhibit so that you feel thorough.
If I may approach, I'd ask that a copy of the deed be marked as, I guess, A2. And I'll hand that up.
I don't think we have an A1 yet, but
Oh, sorry, but the application.
those are ZHBs, but that's fine. A1.
I have for as A2, then, copy of the file certificate of organization for the liability, limited liability company.
Great.
Indicating that's the owner there, or the member thereof.
Is this property owned outright by the LLC then?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And as an offer of proof, we're here tonight, as indicated on the agenda, for 2 variance applications. The issues here are parking. As I understand it, the ordinance requires, well, I'll back up. The application, the applicant desires to make this property and redevelop it into a duplex where it has been historically a single-family dwelling. The applicant owns other properties within Upper Darby Township, including other duplexes, including a duplex about a block and a half away at 11 Oakley Road. And so the applicant wishes to redevelop this property into a duplex, which is permitted as of right under the ordinance. However, there are 2 conditions that we require a variance on. One is parking. The ordinance requires 2 units, 2 parking spots per unit, therefore would require theoretically 4 parking spots. I understand that we have a parking area available of approximately 24 to 25 feet wide. The applicant believes that he could fit 3 parking spots in that area and is seeking a variance permitting 3 as opposed to 4. Also, the condition in the ordinance as to lot size. So the ordinance requires 3,000 square feet per unit. If we're doing the math correctly, the actual lot size here to begin with, even if it was a single-family dwelling, is 2,178 square feet per the application. So there appears to be a pre-existing nonconformity already, and the applicant wishes to apply for a variance with regard to what would appear to be a 6,000 square foot requirement. And as the application points out, that's a rare thing in Upper Darby Township. I would add as an offer of proof that the property will be used as a rental property, that this particular applicant has a waiting list full of tenants who desire to move into the area. And he can testify to this if you wish, but his experience is that, you know, most of these tenants do not have motor vehicles. Rather, they would access public transportation. Of course, this particular road is very close to Westchester Pike, as well as the Norristown high-speed line, which is, this, in case you don't know on a map, this road is over by the McCall Golf Course, almost directly across the street from it, as a matter of fact. And so the Norristown high-speed entrance is within easy walking distance. This, of course, is strictly a dimensional variance. It's not a use variance, so a lessened standard is required. This gentleman, Mr. Savitz, is here to answer any questions that you may have. He is a diligent and good landlord with, you know, many other properties within Upper Darby. That's all I have as an offer of proof at this point.
So I guess on behalf of the board, just to get this going, so the property itself is undersized to begin with for a single dwelling unit,
It appears that way, correct?
and you're proposing to put 2 dwelling units on it.
Correct.
So we're increasing the density for this lot.
Correct.
Is this constructed dwelling particularly large for a single family home that warrants it being divided up? Is there some type of reason why this isn't able to be reasonably used as a single?
I would defer to Mr. Savitz, but I have some,
Sure.
after he's finished, or maybe he can even use this as he speaks, I have some dimensional documents that may be of some use.
Can I talk?
Have you been sworn in yet?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Your name?
Steven Savitz. The reason why I requested this variance for this particular property is I bought 11 Oakley, which had the same existing condition. It was already a duplex, a 2-unit building, and when I renovated it, it is quite large. The houses are quite large. I forget the square feet. 15,
I have
16?
1536
So
square feet.
they're quite large for Upper Darby houses typically that I have. I'm anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400, 15, I guess. But the main reason why I'm requesting it is that 11 Oakley Road so easily was designed as a duplex with my waiting list of tenants. I feel like there's almost a shortage, I don't know if everyone would agree, of rental units in Upper Darby. And these large houses lend themselves to a quite easy design of those 2 units. And my only experience with it is this one house, which is a block away, 11 Oakley. And that's why when I bought this in disrepair, I decided that I would come and request this variance to basically copy the same condition that I have a block away.
Tell us about the disrepair a little bit.
Oh,
Sorry, Steve.
it's
What's the current
Like, what, you say it's in disrepair, is it?
Oh, it needs
is
to be
s-
completely renovated, whether or not you grant me this, two unit, two units, I have to renovate it either way. So I'm gonna renovate the house as a single-family home, or I'm gonna renovate the house as I desire into the 2 units that I'm requesting.
Is it a significant amount of repairs?
I would say significant, not structural and not damaged, but significantly in need of of cosmetic renovation throughout. New kitchens, baths, walls where necessary, electric upgrades, etc.
Help me out. So I guess I'm struggling with the dimensions in the application. So the house as a single family is like a little over 1,500 square feet, right? Um, but the proposed square footage of the 2 units combined are a little over 2,000 square feet. So where's that 500 square feet coming from?
Probably the lower level, because, not probably, the lower level, because when I did 11 Oakley, that's exactly what we did. We have a bi-level on the first floor, unit, and 1 floor above on the second floor. This would be basically copying that situation. It's not an identical house either. They're not identical in that the lower level here will only be a kitchen and probably a kitchen, but a living room. And it's larger in 11 Oakley, the downstairs.
So when you say low, you mean the basement for the lower level, not the ground level? There's a basement in the house?
There is.
And so what you're counting in the 1,350 square footage for the, I guess, the bi-level,
On the larger unit, yes.
you're counting the basement
I am.
as a living
I am.
area? But right now, are you
It's not in
are you
that
counting that in the 1,500?
Yeah, it's not finished space right now in the square feet, yeah.
Okay, and then so I guess regarding the parking, I guess your application states that the existing parking can fit 3 cars, I guess, in the rear, it looks like. So then, why are you seeking a variance for only 2 parking spaces if you can
No,
accommodate 3?
the requirement is that you require 2 parking spaces per
Right.
dwelling unit. So if you
Or-
grant me, right, so if you grant me 2 units, that would require 4. And it's arguable whether this is 2 or 3. I heard that your definition of a parking space may not be exactly what mine is. It's 25 feet behind the house, a driveway, to park. I can fit 3 cars. I did fit 3 cars there. But Joshua told us that 9 feet is your requirement for a space. It would not be 9 feet. I don't have 27 feet. I almost do have 27 feet with existing conditions, because if the lot size is 25 or so, there's as part of this rear driveway, I don't know if it would be called a common egress, I don't know what it would be, a sidewalk. It's not a sidewalk, but it extends. This is 27 feet wide, the space behind the house, the concrete behind the house. So
But you're saying it's not all yours.
I'm saying that your measurements from the township are 25 point, however wide, but the existing condition is 27, so quite possibly not. I don't know if I don't know if in between houses here.
Have you ever had it surveyed? And do you have a copy of
No, I
that?
just bought it a month ago. We don't survey typically. I'm using
That's
the
where you
numbers
can
from the
define.
township public record.
Okay. So you're asking for 3 spots or 2? I don't feel like I got an answer to that. What are you asking for in your
I'm asking
application?
For 2 units, to relief to have 2 units there, 2 dwelling units. Technically, whether we have to call, I need relief from the 4-unit requirement.
Right, I
And
got that.
whatever you need to call.
If, as indicated by the zoning officer, if the township definition of a parking spot is 9 feet, it's a factual question about whether we've got 27 feet there. It seems like perhaps we're just short, in which case I guess we're forced into asking for a variance for 2 existing spots. Is that how the township sees
Well,
it?
that's how we've advertised it, but if
Yeah.
it's a factual issue, it'd be up for you to prove.
If that's how it's
The issue,
advertised, I
yeah.
think that's what we're
Okay.
asking.
But there, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, I'd say it's fair that you're asking for 2, that, right, that was what was advertised. And then maybe you can fit a third in there, maybe not, but, you know, I think that's just for the board to understand and not necessarily be presented as what the plan is.
Is there any emergency egress from your proposed basement?
Definitely. I mean, as per code that was.
I only see the
requirement
one door
in the
go.
door in the back that,
That's what I'm saying. I only see the one.
I'm sorry?
I only see the one shown on your basement level. There should be 2.
Well, there'll be a window. If it's gonna be living space, it's gonna meet code, which would have the proper egress either by adding a window that's easily accessible, God forbid. And that would depend on the building permit. That would be dependent upon, what's required. If, for example, if it's only gonna be a living room, I don't know that you need a second egress. If you do, then you do. But if you do, then we'll do it. But the answer is, we do what we have to, we do what we're told to do. So this is gonna be per the building code. And this will be all constructed per the building code.
How many people do you currently have in your properties or expect to have? Let me put it that way.
In my properties currently,
Your-
or this property?
This particular property,
Oh, the
how many do you?
No, his question is how many are in there right now? It's vacant,
Oh, it's
correct?
vacant. I'm sorry.
And it's been vacant for some time?
It's vacant since I bought it. I don't know how long before I bought it. Occupied or not. There's no one there now.
Okay, how many do you expect to have on your upper floor? And then how many do you expect to have on your lower floor?
I don't expect, but it'll probably be 2 people above, 2-bedroom apartment. And downstairs oftentimes is a couple and a kid or 2 kids, but that could be 3 roommates as well. You know, that could be 3 people. So it could be a young family, or it could be roommates. On the first floor, the second floor most probably is gonna be 2 people.
When you made a reference that if the code requires you to put another egress, in the basement,
Mhm.
where would you put that?
Sorry, I
From the
don't know the
from the
house
plan
intimately
here.
enough to understand it, but.
Your
in the
drawing.
past, things that we've had to do is add a window or even an egress window if the physical area demanded that, but not in Upper Darby, but.
So I'm gonna recommend to the board, so we don't get too far afield, since that is a building code issue, that if it is a concern of the board and you're inclined to grant the relief, you can always make a condition that the applicant complies with all applicable building codes for occupancy of the lower level, to ensure that those life safety issues are addressed.
If you didn't receive the variance and you renovate, I think you stated earlier, you would have to renovate it either way. Would your intention still be to rent it out as a single family, or would you renovate it and sell it?
No, it would be to rent it out as a single family. I have a number of houses in Upper Darby. I like Upper Darby very much, and I have a lot of success with rentals. This house in particular, I'm not opposed to selling a house. I've sold some houses, but the price I paid for this house doesn't really warrant me renovating it and trying to sell it as a flip, if you will. So I bought this to keep this. Either way, I understood that, that it's not a duplex, and I understood that I may not be allowed to, and if not, it'll be a single family home. That'll be.
Okay.
Is there anybody else?
Is there any public comment?
You have no other witnesses, right?
No other witnesses, no, sir. Just the star witness, and I think the board, not to belabor, I think the board understands my argument, which is basically that the duplex use is permitted as of right, but the conditions make it impossible to use it as a duplex, strictly speaking, and hence the application.
Can we go into executive session?
Sure. It's up to you.
Just take a brief exec first.
You stood up, I think you were just stretching your legs.
Yeah, I mean, that is nice too. My Fitbit's yelling at me, so.
Okay, there's no public comment. I would like to make a motion to deny this application.
I second it
All in favor?
to deny the application. I deny it.
Steve?
Steve?
Nay, okay. We have,
Motion carries. You'll receive a written decision within 45 days of tonight.
thank you. 12-3 of 24. I'm not sure if that's MD as in for doctor, but Noor Alam. 221 Heather Road, Upper Darby, PA, is in an R3 residential district, seeking a variance from section 55039C2 to permit a front yard fence height of 6 feet when a maximum of 4 feet is permitted. And B, variance from section 55039C3 to permit the front yard fence to be located directly above the retaining wall. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. My name is MD Noor Alam. I'm the house owner of 221 Heather Road in Upper Darby.
Okay. Before we begin, is there anyone present this evening who's requesting party status for this application? Seeing none, the board will enter the following exhibits. ZHB1 will be the application packet, ZHB2 will be the notice photos, and ZHB3 will be the proof of publication. So Mr. Alam, the floor is yours to explain to the board what exactly you're requesting and why you believe you deserve to deviate from the zoning ordinance.
Well, first of all, I have a very beautiful family. I have 3 kids and my wife and myself and my moms and dad living with me. So I have a very young child. He is 2 years old. He's in here. Unfortunately, I just take it out because he's taking too much noise. So the happened was in the beginning of the year, on the summer times, he just get out, when he opened the door, he just get out from the main entrance. He goes to the street level, he get accident. He was injured by his lips. That was twice. So because of that, then it's all about safety and secure issue. So then, no, it's safety for my family and especially for the kids, So then I was decided to install the fence in the house,
So you've installed this fence already?
Yes, the fence is already been installed, yes.
And you installed a 6-foot fence, correct?
Yes.
So before we get to the retaining wall issue, so a 4-foot fence is permitted. Why is a 6-foot fence necessary?
First of all, I don't know how many feet that should be.
Okay.
So when I install, then I figure out because I get the notice from township. And yeah, I was on the apologize for that.
What type of fence did you put in?
That's in the metal types, one.
It's like a black aluminum or?
So it's a 2-foot retaining or 2 foot of stone and then a 4-foot chain link fence on top.
Oh, so it's a 4-foot fence on top of a 2-foot retaining wall.
Right. So total about 6 feet. Actually, it might have been a little under. So it's 5'5", but
Yeah.
So from the sidewalk, it's 6 feet high, but from the property, it's only 4, essentially?
so yes and no. There's the front of the fence and the side of the fence. The front of the fence is actually on top of a retaining wall, which is right holding back dirt. The side of the fence, which separates I think the driveway from the neighbor, or at least separates your property from the neighbors, right? That is all concrete on the other side, so it's not actually retaining anything. So the one violation, right, the second one, where the retaining wall, or the fence is on top of the retaining wall, applies to the front of the house. And the first violation that is talking about the 6-foot is applies to the side of the house.
Do we have notice photos that show this that we can put up on the screen?
Yes. I don't have, this isn't my laptop, so. Yeah, give me.
Courtney, are you able to throw it in the drive real quick, or does that take longer than? Oh, Josh has it on the phone. Okay.
Also, can you tell us about the lay of the ground itself?
I'm sorry, sir?
can you tell us about the lay of the ground itself? Did you re-level it?
Well, I just install, I think the 18 inches in the bricks on the ground, and is under the ground. I just put some, the pole is goes, I think the about 12 inches on the ground, with the bricks.
Pictures come through. All right.
Could be a little.
I got the pictures there. They're all clear.
This is when I didn't go.
Oh, you're on the very little screen, Josh, just so you
I
know.
know.
Okay.
All right. So this is a good picture because you kind of see both, right? So here, right, actual retaining wall, right, holding back dirt, right, and then likely a 4-foot fence on top of that. So the height's not the problem in this side. It's the fact that it's directly above, right?
Okay.
It's supposed to be set back 6 inches. The issue on the other side,
Oh, so this is a 6-inch setback issue.
yes.
Understood.
And then on the side, see how we're no longer actually retaining anything here because it's all paved? So now we have the 4-foot fence on top of a 2-foot, effectively, wall, which is considered a fence. So now we've got a 6-foot fence on the side. Does that kind of clarify what I was saying?
I think that helps immensely.
I can leave this up if you'd like.
Okay, so why did you construct this side with bricks underneath where it's not retaining any soil?
Well, as I've been said, this all about the safetiness of my kids, because this is the case I was talking about. One time he almost got under the car. The car is coming so fast. The bricks I put in on the bottom, is getting more stronger. Looks more on the presentable, that was the main concern was. More durable, yes.
So did you do it all at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Front and side?
Yes, in the front you can see on the picture, yes.
Yes,
Both
okay,
on the side, yes.
okay. And what made you go so high on the side? Because I think I'm just getting a reflection. But isn't that side taller or is it the same height? I
Yeah,
just
it is the
can't-
same height, yes.
Oh, it is the same height, okay.
But the door is getting smaller because I couldn't find the
Right,
longer
right. I see
door.
the
That's
door
why
is
just
shorter.
it looks like like uneven.
And you were unaware of what the code? and-
Yes, ma'am.
But I guess I'm wondering so I guess I understand, maybe I don't understand. So why didn't you just have the fence go to the ground? Like start from the ground and just do the 4th? I guess I'm still not clear on like why the wall, then the fence. Why didn't you just build the fence from the ground up?
So it looks more the presentable, and as I said, it looks more durable and more stronger because, as I said, and the kids so they can play inside, so they can more safety on the top, If I put it like bit more higher, it holds the fence together also. Because if I straight put the pole on the ground, it's not gonna be that strong enough. So what I did, I just put on the bricks in the bottom, then the pole goes on the middle of the bricks. So it looks more stronger because it's a little bit ground also. I put cement in there, it's look more stronger also.
You did this all yourself?
No.
Were the bricks already there when you bought it?
No.
Okay.
No,
I was looking at an old image.
Was this permitted? Would this have to be permitted?
You would need a fence permit, yeah.
Did you have one?
Yeah, I had the permit and I took it in it's like about 2 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago. I took the permit for that, install the pans,
Oh, so the fence, all this was installed 2 years ago?
No. I took the permit about 2 years ago,
Oh, got it.
but I just installed like about 2 months ago,
Oh,
about 2 months. because on that times, I was not feel like that because since my son has an injury, twice, then I don't have any other choice. And my moms and dad, they are very old, they couldn't take care of him because they're old, Whenever they opened the door, he just came out from the house, because of that.
You're not concerned about him crawling under that? Zoom out a little bit for me, please. Crawling under that, the door?
No,
there?
because you can easily can see that it's very close.
Oh, okay.
Because I just kept little bit of space. So, the trash can, I just keep it like that, just like what I said, the hill.
Slope.
Ram, yes.
Okay.
Would we like to, is there any public comment? I'm sorry. Any public comment?
60.
Sorry, I have one more question before that, if that's okay. If you had to make that shorter, could you do that without tearing down the wall underneath it? Like, does the fence part come off the wall, or is it, like, could that be removed if you needed to? Or would you have to take the whole thing down if you had to adjust the height?
You don't have to put the whole thing down. It's connected to the poles, and the poles are like.
I'm sorry.
He's my son, I'm sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
can't.
We just have to have you sworn in.
Yeah.
Wait, it's a minor. It's a minor. I don't think.
I'm assuming you're not 18.
No, he's not 18.
Yeah.
So we can't have you testify here.
Okay.
But you can relay that through your father. So if you want to chat with your father for a minute
Hold on.
about it, and then, or unless you know what he would say.
Well, if I like to break everything, because everything's gonna be get together right now, then I have to break everything. I have to break, the pole. I have to break the bricks, and of course, the pole is about more than everything on the cement, because underneath that the pole, I have a cement in there, cement and bricks there to look getting more stronger on the pole. So I have to break everything, again.
Okay,
So,
got it. So you would have to tear it down if you.
Sorry?
So you would have to tear the whole thing down, essentially, if you had to
Yes.
adjust, yeah. Okay.
so I know for a fact, that there are pipe cutters. So your stone is what, 2 feet tall?
It's about 2 feet,
Or
yes.
2 feet, and your link fence is 4?
Yes, I think, yes.
So a professional or a contractor, because they cut those pipes, and they're pipe cutters, because it's hollow inside where you can pour cement, I think you said.
No, the pipes, I get it from the Home Depot. I think the 6 feet or a little bit more than
Right.
6 feet. So what about the walls above then they put it on the underground,
Right, so if you were to take I don't know if there's a cap on it, if there's a cap on the pipe, you take that off. I don't know if there is one on every one of the posts.
Mhm.
Can you look down in it? It's hollow?
It's not a solid steel too.
On the top.
Okay, okay.
Or is in the cement inside. If I take off the top from the on the pipes, you can see it's cement all the in the bottoms, on the
Okay.
ground.
Okay. Is there any public comment? I thought I seen a hand. Public comment?
Sure, come forward.
You'll have to.
You would still have the microphone, so we might just step aside. Sure. From the microphone. State your name. We'll have you sworn in.
Sheikh Siddiq, 7109 Hilltop Road, Upper Derby. Sheikh, last name is Siddique.
He's a former council.
I do. I do.
Right, go ahead.
Thank you all for the good job for the community for the Upper Derby Township. I'm here to support and this the ordinance 221, 221 Barrington Road, Heather Road. The reason I know the family for many years. The children is really very active in home to come out and in, out, in, out. The husband and wife, they are pretty busy with the family to, their job. The elderly brother, mother, mother-in-law, father-in-law, they take care of the children, but they cannot compete with them to in and out. So the reason I want to say that the fence, I believe I can help them. I can work with them. If the retaining wall is 18 inches, not 2 feet. From there, maybe if board allow, he can reduce little bit. If also he want to work with the township with the zoning, whatever it is, we can follow that one. And maybe I was hearing that take out the cap and chop it up a little bit. I could possibly, we can work in that way if you allow him to do so. That's all I want to say, and if you can, your kind support for this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. And I will help support him the way you talking. I know what they want to say. If they give you approve it, then we'll work. Right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sadiq.
Is there anyone else? Give your name.
Hassan, 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 Yasin. Yes. I know Mr. Alam since last 6 years. Very nice family guy, and he is sake of his kids' safety. And I'm his neighbor actually. Like we live in the same block. I mean, I'll request to like work on this, see so he can protect his kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the fence with the following condition. That 2 feet of the length portion of the fence be reduced so that is compliant with a total of 4 feet, correct?
Yeah, it might be a little less because it's,
Oh, right, he said 18.
I think it's actually like 5.5, but yeah, getting the whole thing the 4-foot grade is what you're getting at.
Yes.
So that
So
They
just,
wouldn't
just to be
need-
clear, so
they wouldn't need a
the-
variance then,
would you want the,
right?
So you're saying because it's 18,
They can have a 4-foot front yard fence.
right, that's good, it's the side one where.
I guess what you would be doing is approving the fence on top of the
Sure, yeah.
portion of
that's true,
the
too.
property that's a retaining wall, but denying the height variance for the portion that isn't retaining soil.
Yes,
If that's amending
makes
your
sense.
motion, so it's approve
Approving.
retaining wall
in the front.
or fence over retaining wall and denying the 6-foot.
Fence over.
fence.
Denying the 6-foot fence.
That's what it would be.
but
So
making the
if you
adju-
remember the pictures,
Yeah.
the portion where the wall is retaining soil,
Mhm,
the
on
fence is
front.
considered to be 4 feet already.
Right, that's fine,
The portion to the left where where the wall is not retaining soil,
right?
we measure the combination of the wall and the fence together as a
That's-
single fence.
Right,
And that is currently 6 feet.
right.
So you would want that reduced to 4, which would
Yes.
be the equivalent of denying the 6-foot height
Yes,
variance.
that's exactly what I refer.
I second that.
All in favor?
Well, you guys can vote.
Yeah, we're approving.
So,
Yeah, let's just vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
The specific motion?
Correct. Okay,
Okay,
so the motion passes.
okay, so was that clear? And, okay, and you will receive a letter in the mail within 45 days.
In between that, I don't have to do anything.
Uh,
In
Within
between
the-
45 days, I don't have to touch anything like that.
Correct.
Yes, you'll call us and we'll make it clear what needs to happen.
Yes, but you don't need to do anything until you receive a formal decision.
Right.
For sure.
They could have an appeal too.
Thank you.
Right. You're welcome, good luck.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
And your family's beautiful.
Bye, cutie. Okay, moving on to 12/4/24, Michaelin and Arena Grabout.
Oh, sorry, Mr. 1 second, Mr. Can you grab him for a second?
Mr. Alum?
I just wanted to confirm your email address.
Yes.
Because it's a little unclear.
NUR.ALMUMIT@yahoo.com.
So there's a dot there. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You too, sir. Have a wonderful night, all of you.
Sorry. go ahead.
Grabovari?
Yes.
Okay. 225 South Madison Avenue in Drexel Hill. It's an R2 residential district, requesting a variance from section 55010, table 4.1 to permit a side yard setback of 4 feet when a minimum of 10 feet is required, and to permit less than the required 22 feet of aggregate side yard setback.
Right. Is there anyone present this evening who's requesting party status for this application?
Just us.
Seeing none, the board will enter the following exhibits. ZHB 1 will be the application packet, ZHB 2 will be the notice photos, and ZHB 3 will be the proof of publication. I am guessing you are Michelin and Ariana?
Yes.
I hope I pronounced that close to something that is representative of your name. Can we have them both sworn in, please?
Yes.
Right, can you please proceed with explaining to the board what exactly you're looking to do and why you believe you deserve the relief requested?
So what are we looking for is extending the kitchen to the, technically closing the L shape of the property as we have. And as far as looking at extending to the neighbors, I understand that the new rules is like actually you have to be 10 feet away from your neighbor. But unfortunately, those rules were after the houses were, like built. And we're not going not even an inch or a millimeter or a centimeter across from the line of the existing property. Just on that line, we're closing the L shape for the extension of the kitchen, 5 by 10. That's all we're doing.
You said you're closing the L shape, so
Correct.
the addition, your kitchen addition will not be any closer to your neighbor's property line
No, not at all.
than the house already is. And it won't be any closer, I know you're not asking for relief from this, but it won't be any closer to the rear property line than your house already is
No,
either.
actually, it's going back to the backyard, like exactly closing the L shape in the backyard of the house, not in front, like where the street is or anything like that.
I'm guessing this significantly improves the functionality of your kitchen.
Waiting for 20 years, but finally, it was not my Christmas because of Josh, but that's okay, I'm just kidding. It was not my Christmas present, but hopefully it's an Easter present now.
You're gonna owe us.
Any board questions?
Just as a point of clarity, the kitchen that you currently have, is it more like a bump out?
No, it's like normal side of the kitchen, but the house as it is built, if Josh, like can bring up the pictures, it is like where the end of the kitchen is right here. We have a little hallway that it's a pantry going back in the backyard. So we're just closing that 5 by 10 feet where actually it's the cross of the pantry, the existence of the, like structural of the house. We're just closing that because the kitchen is already right there. So nothing else.
Okay.
Just closing the shape and build, pushing the wall further.
So you're not
Small
extend, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's small kitchen.
The
that's it.
existing, it's a very small
Right.
kitchen, so.
Right.
yeah.
So you're not extending anything, you're just closing it off and
We're-
expanding your kitchen?
Yes, that's exactly.
Do you have a rear, do you have a rear deck on the back of your kitchen?
No, we don't have a deck.
There's nothing else besides the edge, the building envelope that would be protruding into the yard outside of the building envelope of
No.
your home?
No, nothing.
Okay, is there, any public comments? None being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve
Second
this
it?
application.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
you.
you're approved and you'll get a notice within 45 days.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. It's coming. Okay. All right, our last one for the evening is 12/5 of 24, Baldev Shahunta, sorry if I mispronounced, 319 South 69th Street in Upper Darby. It's in the C3 Commercial District. It's a variance from section 55023 and 558A to permit a wholesale smoke shop tobacco sales to business retailers. And B, a variance from section 55056, definition of smoke shop, smoking parlor, section B, to permit a wholesale distributor to be within 1,000 feet from a smoke shop.
Mr. Crawford, I presume?
Yes, good evening. I'm Julius Crawford, here for Mr. Baldev, doing business as American Golden Palace LLC. And we're here,
All right, before you begin, is there anyone present this evening who's requesting party status? Seeing none, the board will enter the following exhibits. ZHB1 will be the application packet, ZHB2 will be the notice photos, and ZHB3 will be the proof of publication. Now the floor is yours, Mr. Crawford.
okay. We seek these zoning variances really for two reasons. As indicated, we seek to do business in a district that's zoned C3 that does not permit the sale of wholesale sale of tobacco to business retailers, and secondly, and relatedly, there's a problem with regard to at least two retail tobacco shops located within 1,000 feet of our proposed location at 319. Our location is at 319 South 69th Street, which you folks may recognize as a relatively large building there, just about at the intersection of Marshall Road and 69th Street. My client has a lease for the use of about 1,400 square feet of the second floor at 319 South 69th Street, about 1,400 square feet. 1,275 of that would be devoted just to storage of the merchandise, of the inventory. The other 125 feet would be dedicated for use as office space. Now, to help perhaps to facilitate your visualizing what this would look like in the real world, here we're talking about a space on the second floor of this mammoth building that I just described. May I approach?
Yes.
I have some pictures that help you to visualize both the exterior here from the interior of premises we're talking about.
So we'll mark the photos. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We'll mark it as approximately 24 photos as collectively as Exhibit A1.
And also as part of my own artistic artistry, I've drawn a hand-drawn top view sketch of what the general office area would look like from a top view down.
So
The
the-
building, the second floor is
Right.
more expansive, and that's the second
So-
floor of 9,000 square feet. Now, we've engaged under at least only 1,400 square feet of that.
So we're going to mark, this is presented as Exhibit A2, a plan that was prepared by Mr. Crawford.
That is correct. And only the area that's marked, that's shaded there relates to my client's office space, which consists of office space and storage space. So as I said, we're here today seeking a variance with regard to the issue of the doing business in the C3 district. And secondly, and relatedly, doing this business within 1,000 square feet of at least 2 retail smoke shops. We think there's some significant differences that I think distinguish our situation from a retail situation. We're in the wholesale business. We're selling only to business owners. We're selling to people who want to buy for purposes of resale. And so for that reason, we don't envision that this type of business being on the second floor, number one, and being a wholesale business, number two, we don't foresee that this type of business would propose the same type of risks that a group of your kind might be interested in or concerned about from a township safety standpoint. My client's going to be doing business on the second floor of an area about 9,000 square feet, and he's going to be occupying, his office will occupy only about 130 square feet. The rest of his area, some 1,300 square feet, will be devoted to inventory space. So this is not a situation where we're going to have the parade of horribles of young kids congregating in front of the store, smoking weed and drinking and doing whatever else that we might otherwise consider nefarious. My client's going to be doing business with business people on the second floor of his business who will have to, in order to gain entry, will have to present obviously ID and also the bona fides for their business as business retailers. So we think that those are significant issues that should distinguish my client's business from the others, and should also, I think, provide a basis for the request for the variances that we're looking for. Now, this is not a case of first impression for my client. He's has already been in the tobacco wholesaling business in the city of Philadelphia. He's licensed by the state. There should be no issue with regard to his character. We have a character witness here to testify to his character to the extent that that might be a relevant consideration for you. In terms of his business operation, he'll use in terms for his trash, to the extent there is trash, as you expect there might be. There's at least 1 or 2 dumpsters, I think, on the side of this building to accommodate that aspect. His business hours, he anticipates running from roughly 4 to 7, Monday through Friday. He'll be closed on the weekends. So in a nutshell, that's the picture that I'd like to present to you and ask you to consider this request for variances.
I have some questions around the photos clear the business, you come into the building, so I seen on this ground level like a vegetable store front, and your sign was like right above the graphics of the fruits and vegetables?
The store, the store is owned by a friend of my clients.
Okay.
Mr. Singh is here as a possible character witness and or fact witness for my clients. Mr. Singh is the son of the owner of the building and my client's landlord. The store happens to be the store with respect to which Mr. Singh is the proprietor. He basically runs it for his dad. He runs the store. Mr. Singh and my client happen to be very good friends, personal and business friends. So that's the aspect of the store. He received permission from Mr. Singh to put the sign on the store,
Okay.
on the store. Simple as that.
Okay, so I don't know, Bridget, if you need to sort.
Before we get to Mr. Singh, so lost all my information here. So you're Mr. Sahunta?
Yes.
Okay, so you heard everything have we sworn you in yet? Can we swear in Mr. Sahunta? So Mr. Sahunta, you heard everything that your attorney testified to?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, is it true and accurate as to what he represented to the board?
Yes.
And you agree with that testimony? Is there anything else you'd like to add to your attorney's testimony?
Basically, he catch up everything.
Okay.
But they has all the facilities like the handicap, loading, unloading zone, and the parking spot, like 20 parking car spots. And they have elevator, they have steps on, big steps on it, and very much everything they has, anything and everything for wholesale, whatever the requirements is all has it.
Okay.
Like a dumpster, this thing.
One other thing I should have mentioned this at the top. To my knowledge, to my client's knowledge, there is no other tobacco wholesaler in the township. I don't believe that there is, based on my research.
Thank you. So unless there's any specific questions for Mr. Sahunta, I think we'll call up Mr. Singh and have him sworn in.
I do have questions for that.
You do have
For the current applicant?
Mr. Sahunta?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So are you in operation now?
No. We want to start after get permission. Without permission, there's nothing now. It start after if you guys give me permission.
Because I'm asking because of the signage from these photos, it looks like, so obviously there's signage in the window of the,
This is we
Grocery
did the both in same time, like a state and you guys. So the state take more longer. The state have some requirements, their own requirements. Like if, for example, I said all the catch-up is the parking lot, and they have a handicap spot, the railing, secure the building, safe the building. All the requirement they have to clear, and they very much they agree with me. They already have inspection. The ladies come on inspection lady from the Harrisburg, and she did inspection the building, and she said okay. But the state sent me the email, and they saying put a sign on it, and also the sale tax ID transport on this name. They send me the email. I have a copy if you need to. And also I have experience. I have already established license, and also I have a up to today is current license I have, active license. In other words, I have a copy.
you have a license to operate that type of business in the state, right? The state's licensing you, but I guess I'll ask it differently. If I'm walking down past this building and I see your sign and I call this number 207-7147, what happens?
This is only for putting sign for the state. The state want putting sign on it, take picture and email to them.
So if I call that number saying I want to buy vape or bulk cigarettes or cigars, I can't buy any now?
No. Until state no give me permission to like approve the license, until you no give me approval, and this is the third part. I just only working on both sides in the same time because it's the long process from the state.
So are these pictures, like in the real estate world, staged so that we would be able to see how you would post your signage?
This is the plastic sign just only for the
Are they there
state
now?
requirement.
Are they there now?
Yes.
Okay, so if one were to drive by, see your sign tomorrow and call, you're saying they wouldn't get anyone?
Nothing you can get because I don't buy until having, nobody sell to me until I no get the license. I
Okay.
have most, I have it, I apply for the license for the state, and also I give you all the paperwork to state to I apply for county too. And they have everything go by the emails.
Okay, so what about, you said there was an elevator
Yes.
in the building? And my other question is, how do you enter, do you have to go through the store?
No,
No?
they have a separate,
It's a separate entrance for that?
everything separate, yes.
Okay, and then if I were a, a wholesaler, a retailer of tobacco products or things that you will be selling, and I came to your store, what would I need to be able to purchase from you?
State license and state ID.
So you will question each customer that comes in, and I guess keep that type of documentation
Right,
on them?
everything need to be racket. And without even either, you have a no state license, or either, if I have to identify who the person I sell it, and they have a valid license. If they don't have it, I could not sell it. It doesn't matter who is it.
Will you,
Point of clarification, when you're saying license, you mean a driver's license or a?
State ID or state license, and
Does.
they have it now both. They used to have it only valid cigarette license, tobacco license. Now have a state ID with it, both.
okay, so you're saying,
Okay.
state ID to sell in addition to your personal ID?
Right, that's correct.
To validate I am who I say I am, okay, okay.
To make sure it's not with the
Right,
computer,
right.
somebody make the fake tobacco license, and I sold the product, and I have
Exactly.
the problem, they have a problem. They add on it. They used to, they don't have it, they add on it now.
And so then will you establish accounts for these customers with the hopes that they become regular customers?
Until I have to, the beginning, I have to get the information first, after I can make the customer. Everybody have to count, to settle the count, the complete paperwork, and then we go from there.
Okay. Okay, because I was trying to imagine, some people who are very creative coming into your establishment and trying to purchase some product with just a resale license, but you're saying they have to have a state tobacco license in order to purchase.
Right, must be valid.
Got it.
They have to be.
And where's parking?
They have a 20 parking with it.
Is it on the side?
Put parking lot right adjacent to the building
Okay.
on the left.
Right, on the side,
Plenty of
okay,
parking for everybody.
okay.
Who are the attorneys that are shown in the pictures? You have,
There was may I ask that question? Answer that question? There was a firm at the location who used the door that has the attorney's name on it.
yeah,
They were there as late as a month ago. I know because I did business with them. I don't know when or under what circumstances they left. Perhaps Mr. Singh could further enlighten you on it.
so that would be removed off.
Right.
And
You can't.
Hold on, sir, nope. We can swear in Mr. Singh to answer these questions. Mr. Singh, if you can come forward.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your full name, please?
Sandeep Singh. So the lawyer's still there. The Aisha Beauty Salon as a tenant had removed. She's no longer there. And now they want to occupy the two to three rooms that are beside there. And the stairway that goes up, and there's an elevator door which is right next to the stairway. So they're accessible for the second floor. I meant third floor, well, second floor. And then before they get to every door, you can say it's laid out as rooms up there. So before you get to the attorney, you gotta go through the hallway, and then for their rooms, it's all door locked, meaning no child can just go in there without a key, or the doors can't be opened. Like, the doors can stay open, but that's if he's there and he's representing that he's sitting there. He'll be sitting in the front on his doorway to make sure that no other public person is walking in beside his own clients, I believe.
So you're saying that a person can come into the building, go up the stairs, there's multiple doors, one's to the attorney, to his business, and I don't know where the third one, or however many there
Whoever
are.
wants to occupy it.
Right, whoever's occupying this space. And signage will be on the door to designate
Who's who?
what business is where, okay. What about, so say someone's ordering a skid of product, how do they get it? First, how do you get it into your building? And how do they get it down to their vehicle? Is this the same elevator that
Yes,
folks would
the
ride
elevator
up?
can fit.
No loading dock, anything like that?
There's no loading dock.
Okay.
If they want me to put one, then I have to put one, but there's no required, because everything usually comes off of a truck with a loading bay down.
And would there be misrepresentation by putting the sign in the store where your produce, or, the convenience store, where people see it and they think they come in there?
No, because if they do, then I would guide them, or whoever's there, that we're not the wholesalers there. That's just, majority, I would tell them to go upstairs or contact the person on the second floor. And the signage that he had placed recently on the doors that's showing you, because the state wanted to see signage there. I know he did not go through the zoning. I told him now that you have to go through the state and Upper Darby Township, and you have to get a permit for the signing now. But he had to show them that there's a sign there, but it will get removed if you don't want it at that particular location. But he's not occupying no business at the moment over there until everything goes through the board.
Right. Is there an exit or egress, like back stairs? in the
Yes, there
event
is
of-
another set of stairs near the law office, but I did not tell them to draw that, because then you'll get confused which stairs are going up, well, which one are the public using, and then there is an exit backwards next to the law office.
Is approval for the proposed use not a prerequisite for the state approval? I guess whoever's more equipped to answer that up there.
State, I think they want to give, I have an email from state, I have make a photocopy, I can show you. They very much, they give to me, the ladies come on and she took my interview, and she very much agree with me all the steps. And these put on sign only because this is a plastic sign, only for like the state wanted to make sure I move in before they would give me approval. They wanted like evidence.
They want to make sure that
Proof.
he's not phony or something.
That could make-
So they wanted to make sure that if he's going to occupy this place, this is the correct place.
And the sign is what communicates that, not the lease, not
Oh, I
the
have the
approval
lease
by the
here.
zoning board?
The application is so big. It's like a big, like
But I would think they would also, I'm with you there on the permitted use, that you've gotten the permit the okay from the township to use the space as such.
Well, that's what we're here for today.
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
make
understand
sure
that.
everything
So you're trying to do it simultaneously,
Right.
right?
So if you took the sign down tomorrow, your state approval would go away?
Well,
The signs, I guess
well, it's
plural.
there temporary, just, it was there for the state to come and take a look, and then it could be removed until we proceed from this.
State already visited.
They wanted to visit what the location looks like. Was it there in an elevator? Did it have a sprinkler system, which it does? And where the access was, and what type of space it was.
So make sure have an office, bathroom,
Mhm.
or like ladies and gents and everything. It's the state requirement. We already completed. And state already look at it. I have with the.
It's all right. Didn't ask you.
I have a question
Go ahead.
relative. In terms of, I think it's to you, sir, in terms of that licensing that you referred to, do you request the individuals to produce to you a copy of their license obtained from Upper Darby to sell the commodities that you're trying to give out there? In other words, if it's vaporing materials, if it's, is it, you know,
Whatever.
whatever the, don't wanna
Smoke
use
products and
the word.
accessories.
So whatever product.
Whatever product.
Basically, they are pre-packaged. I cannot open anything. It's just only the common and goes. I can open anything and, it's just as it is, we say that.
I know, but I want to make sure that the,
May I answer the question? I think I understood your question, if I may. Mr. Sahuna is going to make sure that whatever business person comes to his office purporting to be a reseller, that buyer is bona fide. So to the extent that a retail smoke shop guy happens to come over to visit Mr. Sahona, yes, he's going to be asking to make sure that that person has the appropriate licenses from Upper Darby to sell to the public.
do you get, would you maintain a list of those individuals that you've, let's say, copied or
Yes, this is the
served
state
their thing?
requirement. The state want to make sure everyone anything you sell, they need each sale. They also track it. They give me for example, they have a source code number. The same thing have a number for the EIN number. This is have a separate number for wholesaler is called MSA. The number to anything I sell it, anybody to sell it, they have a link with them. They see it, what I did. To make sure it's not doing wrong and not the tax, the make sure going every week to pay off. And they need a accountant and they need a lawyer. Everything you need a whole jar. It's not like a tobacco shop. It's like a big thing.
So they're tracking your inventory, essentially.
Yes.
They are, yes.
Even each box.
That's a good way to put it. That's exactly what's happening.
They took all the pictures. The state command, they took all the pictures and everything. Where will you put on it? What is your plan? What is your business plan? Everything they did. And also they have a very strong interview.
And can I ask something about this photo, this drawing here? So storage room 1 through 3, though, that's all a part of your space?
Right, we can start with them, like a little piece, we have no customized scratching data.
Our lease contemplates that he has access through his lease to those 3 storage areas.
Court reporter is asking for clarification on a statement. We've got to get it clear on the record before we move forward.
I have no customer yet, a scratching here. So we can build up the business, so we start on a small portion.
No, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding this diagram correctly by the storage rooms, and then in the center, it says unused office space and storage. So I come up the steps to the second floor. I'm going towards the right into this office space, and store, is that a room or is that a counter? What is that? Where do your customers come to purchase?
400 square foot room, I can say that.
So it's a room,
Side, I have four this side, four this side. Like
Okay.
left and right, 4 and 4.
so the space in the center is a room, or is it just
That
open
has
to
nothing to
the
do
other?
with my client. That is unused space. That's up to Mr. Singh to decide whom he wants to deal with that space. It got nothing to do with my client or the lease.
Okay, so where do I come to buy product? Where am I going? To the
May I
storage
approach?
room?
May I approach?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. All the shaded areas are areas with respect to which our client has a proprietary interest under the lease. If you look here at this shaded area here, you see this area here is storage, but in the corner over here with the door, there's an area that's going to be called his office. That's where he will have his computers, his desks, his bookcases, whatever he needs to do to conduct business. But the rest of this space is areas where he will be storing inventory.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah,
Where do
that's the way-
people come?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was in the center, because that's a
No,
huge.
no, no. They'll walk up these steps,
Okay,
down this hallway, and into the door here, into that door.
okay.
Okay?
So this is not accessible to customers, just this space here?
That's correct.
Okay,
Absolutely.
storage area
Right.
one, okay. That's what I need to understand. That makes sense? That makes sense to you? That makes sense? Okay.
Is there any special ventilation required for your products?
Special
Ventilation?
ventilation. Any special ventilation required in the building?
Yeah, for your smoke shop items that you're storing there for sale.
The people who come there to do business with Mr. Sahana, they're not gonna be smoking cigars in this building. They're coming there to transact business, to purchase the product that'll probably be packaged in packages and boxes. And they'll be headed for the elevators. They won't be lighting up a cigar.
No, but just considering the product, tobacco, then
Right.
it might need certain climate control or something
Oh,
like that.
oh, that
That's
sort of
what-
thing.
That's what he's asking.
Spoilage.
Like different
Spoilage.
temperature?
Yeah.
It's, I don't think so, the requirement has a, like, the make sure is not, what,
Moisture.
sparking stuff, like the roof,
Condensation.
is called sparking.
I think his sprinkler
Sprinklers.
system, fire suppression.
Yeah, the make sure they want to, the state want to make sure safe, and this package is no way to open it, is sale as it is, that came from the factory, and sale as it is. Cannot open anything, not even say like one piece, the boxes come in, boxes sale.
And your hours of operation are going to be, what time was that again?
7 PM, 7
4 to
AM,
7.
4 PM,
Monday through Friday.
Monday to Friday.
And when will your deliveries be made? Would it be made during the time you have people coming in, as your customers coming into the business, or is it after 4 or before 7?
Before 7, I come in there and they come in after 7. The customer come in after 7.
No, your delivery, so your large
The
deliveries.
delivery, I have no idea yet because is not start yet. I scratch on 0.
Okay.
I just want one. I like the idea that you have accumulated your records and that you would make them, I assume you make them available to Josh or whatever local inspector is, so that he can verify the quantities of things that are being used for your different customers out there in Upper Darby.
I think this is the
Yeah.
whole state license. I
We
think.
would certainly abide by that if you were to include that in your order, of course.
And it would be great to see the industry also start to self-regulate. So I think that would be nice on the township's end. And I can also say that the state does not check with us before they issue anything. In fact, most people are confused when we say that they didn't get approval because they show me their state license.
That's what I think is appropriate for,
Yeah.
for you.
Get a state license. It's more my curiosity. When someone gets a state license to sell wholesale, are they limited to selling to only people licensed in that respective state, or does that matter? I guess
This is for whole state license. This now for like like different between tobacco shop only sell inside the tobacco. I can sell in whole Pennsylvania. This is the whole Pennsylvania license.
But I guess if I'm like hypothetically, I'm a retail seller, you're a wholesaler. Do I have to be a retail seller licensed in Pennsylvania to buy from you a wholesaler license in
Yes.
Pennsylvania? You do?
Yes.
No out-of-state retail, okay.
Just only one state, Pennsylvania.
I'd like to go to an executive session so we get this crafted right in terms of how the communication goes.
Is there any public comment? Okay. All right, we're just gonna take a break. Executive session.
All right, the board, if the board's ready to proceed, the board's asked me to put a motion on the table for consideration. The motion, where's my agenda? The motion would be to approve the 2 requested variances subject to the following conditions. One, that exterior signage is limited to the access points to the suite where the use will occur, that no retail sales occur as part of the use, that there is no smoking on premises, and 4, that the operator of the use will make their records available upon request of the township regarding entities to which the product is sold. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
And we'll note that there are no opposed. So we receive a written decision with those conditions within 45 days of this evening. Right. Madam Chair, I don't think there's anything else.
All right, I'd like to make the motion to close, adjourn our meeting. All in favor?